Hey guys, I wanted to do a review of some couple of brands of tomato cages. I've been looking for a while for the right tomato cages for my garden. I only grow indeterminate tomatoes, so they get very big, probably 8 if not more feet tall. I decided to pick up some of the Texas tomato cages and the ring tomato cages, and wanted to do an initial review. I've just installed them a couple of days ago, so this review will just be for the initial ease of use and just the observations that I've gathered from installing them. I guess the first main thing is the ring tomato cages, or rings, take up a lot less space than the Texas tomato cages. I had 6 Texas tomato cages and 6 rings, and I mean, the box is probably 100 times bigger that they came in for the Texas tomato cages. Now the Texas tomato cages do fold flat, so they're still easy to store, not like regular cages that you could buy or make from welded wire, but they still take a lot more space than the tomato rings, and I'll show you in a minute exactly how they all look. Now, the first thing, which is the ease of installation, the tomato rings were much easier to install. Actually, the Texas tomato cages were an absolute nightmare. I have a rocky soil. It may be a lot easier if you just have raised garden beds, or I guess soil that you've worked for so many years. It's loose, fairly deep down, and doesn't have many rocks. I'm not a cursing person, but I don't think I've ever cursed as much as I did when I was installing the Texas tomato cages, just because every time I tried to put them in, one of the legs would hit a rock. I'd have to dig it up, dig a hole, dig it up. So when that was done, the next one would hit a rock, and it would be just over and over until I was cursing left and right. And again, another video, and again, kids riding up on motorcycles. What's the chance of that happening? So the only thing I had to do is put up these stakes, 8 feet tall stakes, which require a step stool, but I've never had a problem using a hammer and banging them in. Never got stuck or anything. I guess they just passed the rocks, or maybe I just got more lucky. Another suggestion in installing these tomato rings: you probably want to keep the metal piece on top, just so they get extra support from the plastic. I actually installed them the other way around, thinking they'll get some protection from rain, but you get more support for when the tomatoes get bigger this way if you have them on the top. They're very easy to install. Also take up a lot less space. I got the 20-inch Texas tomato cages because with the 24 inches I'm not sure I would even have enough room to walk in between, but the 20 inches is more than enough, I'd imagine. I only grow big tomatoes, which like Brandywine, Cherokee Purples, and Camparis. So my initial review, I definitely like the tomato rings better, which I'm surprised. I thought the Texas tomato cages would be a lot better. However, I do think they have possibly better potential, more room for the tomatoes to grow, spread, and more air circulation. So I'll try to review again when the tomatoes are bigger, and it's quite possibly I might like the Texas tomato cages more. They were a little easier to install once I started using a hammer, which I didn't want to do, but it just wouldn't work any other way. Then I guess it would slip past the rocks when I used the hammer a little bit. And another thing is they're supposed to be rust proof, but I could see that almost all of them in the welded spots here, they're already rusting after a couple days. So it might be poor product quality assurance, I'm not sure. Also, I'll want to see which tomatoes do better. However, I did put the Texas tomato cages in all my biggest plants, so not sure how fair the comparison will be, as they're already doing better and probably produce sooner. They already have flowers, while these don't. I also think the Texas tomato cages may offer better support in the long run. I will need to use 3 of these tomato rings per plant. I have 2 for now. I ordered 6, and I ordered already 2 more packages, so 12 more rings. And actually you need 18 of these rings to have the same support for big indeterminate plants as 6 Texas tomato cages, because you're going to need 3 per plant. But they still cost 1/3 of the price for the 18 of them as the Texas tomato cage, which for what you would pay for 6 Texas tomato cages. For now, I think the rings are a better value. You know, they don't take up as much space. If you don't have a lot of space, this will save you room. You know, it'll be easier for me to walk around. Texas tomato cages, still enough room for me to get through here. Another thing I noticed once I put up the top piece here, they're not really that sturdy. From what people were saying, I thought they're going to be very sturdy, but they move a lot. So maybe actually that will allow in high winds to more movement for the plants, and it'll be fine, which I think that's what the case will be. But these stakes are probably a bit more sturdy right now, but I think they'll be okay. So again, my initial review goes to the tomato rings. Not sure that will be the case when the plants get bigger. Guys, if you have any questions or comments, or just want to see what your experiences with these cages are, please post comments down below or questions, and I'll try to get to them as soon as possible. Thanks.